partially rainy November of Guyana's rainforest shook the whole world in 1978 as the first photographs came out of swollen dead bodies of nearly 1,000 Americans laying around the main court hall of newly built jungle city called Jonestown, which was named after a murderer who killed all of his followers and himself by psychologically provoking them to drink cyanide squash. Jim Jones was a religious leader of Christianity who often performed fake healing stunts in front of massive crowds gathered to hear him, as he was one remarkable speaker who raised his voice against racial inequality at the time when America was facing civil rights movement. Jones slowly started grabbing the political influence as his presence in the political processions meant that his followers will turn up to hear him. This political influence fetched him key political positions twice. Rapid progression of Jones caught the journalistic investigation, which resulted in Jones started getting exposed on drug usage as well as sexual crimes. Sensing downfall, Jones fled the United States along with his followers to newly built Jonestown in remote Guyana of Latin America. Protests started against Jim Jones by families and loved ones of his followers, which forced the Congressman Ryan to visit Jonestown to investigate the matter by himself. Congressman Ryan got killed by the armed followers of Jones at an airstrip as he was about to fly back. Furthermore, Jones ordered to make a poisonous drink and all present shall drink it. In the aftermath of this tragedy, United States keenly scrutinized the religious groups and introduced new laws and practices to have full control over the religious groups, as the idea was to declare that no group or individual shall be considered above the law and the state. A state within a state shall never be tolerated. Fethullah Gullen, a Turkish religious leader and accused planner of bloody Turkish coup attempt of July 2016, who once had ties with the ruling party, is another example of such leadership that puts his followers through tests. Gullen, like Jones, created his own desired group for his own purposes. The group worked for education, health and welfare apparently, but discreetly had a mission which got exposed during the event of failed coup in July 2016. His followers held offices in every government department, which shows that for years Turkey had a hidden state within itself. This hidden state, led by Gullen, sensing the opportunity, tried to overpower the Turkey under Erdogan but was in vain. Pakistan is no stranger to such kind of religious movements that are shadowed under the umbrella of education, health and welfare. One of such, state within a state, was quashed by Islamabad in the siege of Red Mosque. Red Mosque leader had strong ties with the previous governments and the militants. Movement of Minhajul Quran, headed by Professor Tahirul Qadri, is another such example in which the group apparently holds a social stature of welfare, and it had support of governments ever since. Qadri did use his followers for staging protests against the governments in the recent past. Far is not the time when one of the religiously motivated groups attempt to do something of such kind discussed above, as we have witnessed in the previous encounters of such groups that they were fully prepared to give or take a life in a process to achieve their goals. Qadri's speeches are never to be forgotten. In case of any future adventure, either it could be revolutionary suicide or a revolutionary assault. In both cases, Pakistan would have to witness dire consequences. It is a need of the hour that religious motivation for the political purposes shall be declared unlawful, as it leads to a state within a state situation in which an individual prioritizes his group's law to that of the state. An individual or a group shall never be given freedom to conspire against the very law that ensures freedom of individuals at large.